We are live, Unoriginal FC back in the cut. And we're talking about Manchester United today, man. And why I believe that Manchester United are still in a lot of trouble going into this new Premier League season. I still believe Manchester United are in big trouble heading into the 24-25 Premier League season. I fear that we may see a repeat of a lot of the things we saw last season. And the reason being for this is the midfield. I'm super worried about our midfield. Now, I understand that United are in a... Well, I was going to say United are in a unique situation, but not really, because when you look across the Premier League, you look across the top 6 teams, not a lot of teams have spent money this year in the summer window. This has been one of the quietest, maybe the quietest summer transfer window I've ever seen. And a lot of it has to do with the new financial fair play rules or the PSR rules that have really limited teams financially. That being said, United are in a position whereby they still need 2 midfielders going into the new season. And I mean, listen, as a United fan, it's a broken record. How many times have we gone into a new season saying to ourselves, we need 2 new midfielders going into the season? I feel like we've said this for the last 3-4 years. I feel like we've said this since forever, to be honest. But we yet again go into a new season finding ourselves 2 midfielders short. Now, last season, I mean, I don't think we need any reminders of how terrible our midfield was last season. Bruno, shocking all season. Yeah, he started balling out maybe the last month of the season, last 5-6 games of the season. For the majority of the season, he was shocking. Casemiro, shocking. Who else was in the midfield? McTominay, shocking in midfield. McTominay to me is not even a midfielder, to be honest with you. McTominay, to me, is a striker. He's a second striker. You just get him out the hell out of the midfield. But we played him in midfield last season, and he was shocking in midfield. Mason Mount, the most useless signing I've ever seen in my life. And we bought Anthony. Do you know what I mean? Like, £60 million for Mason Mount, who would have been free this summer. We could have got him on a free this summer, and we paid 60 mil for him with one year left on his contract. Absolutely useless. Kobbie Mainoo, honestly, was the only shining light in our midfield last season. Amrabat didn't really get much of a chance. I don't think Amrabat's that great, to be honest. I don't think Amrabat's all that. I think Amrabat's decent, but you know, there's only so much you can do when you're not given much playing time, and Amrabat really didn't get to play much in midfield. And if he did play, he was playing as a right back, not with it. Anyways, I say all of that to say this: we still have the same midfield going into the season. For whatever reason, we still haven't sold McTominay, even though Fulham have offered 20 million. We've rejected that because we're holding up for 30 million. Wake up and smell the coffee. He's not worth 30 million. Yeah, the club might have a £30 million valuation on McTominay, but let's be honest, you're only worth as much as what the market dictates, especially when clubs know that you don't want the player. When you don't want said player, you don't have much leverage. So to be turning down £20 million for McTominay is ridiculous, especially when you know you're in a situation as a club that you need to sell to buy. Manchester United are in a situation where they need to sell to buy. So guess what? Sell your deadwood in midfield, aka McTominay, and go get you some midfielders. The options are Fofana, Zubimendi. I feel like Zubimendi and Ugarte be a bit too pricey. I think they're off the table, but you still have the likes of Rabiot, who you can get on a free signing. Yusuf Fofana, Sander Berge. All these options that have been listed over the last few days, we need reinforcements. Because with the way Manchester United play football, especially if you've noticed how we played, well, the way we played football last season, but even the way we're playing football during this pre-season, a very aggressive, a very high press, right? We're very aggressive and all out with how we're pressing this pre-season. You want to play that kind of football with a midfield of Casemiro, Bruno, and Kobbie Mainoo. That's suicide. We watched how that unfolded last season. Last season, the gaps we saw in the midfield was like the parting of the Red Sea. We were at the mercy of teams last season. Once they broke through our initial press, it was the attack and the defense. No midfield. You're telling me we're going to go into another season with the same options in midfield? Casemiro doesn't have the legs. Kobbie Mainoo, yeah, he's young, but Kobbie Mainoo is not. He's not got an engine like that. Kobbie Mainoo doesn't have the legs. Kobbie Mainoo doesn't have the legs to cover ground like that, unfortunately. Listen, we're in trouble going into next season if we don't sell these guys and we don't bring in reinforcements. United still need 2 midfielders. Let alone what we need in the fullback spots. And I mean, listen, there are a lot of things that United need to address. But for me, the midfield has always been our biggest issue. We lack physicality in our midfield. We lack technical ability in our midfield. Outside of Kobbie Mainoo, we are shocking technically on the ball in midfield. And even if you want to include Kobbie Mainoo, we are shocking in terms of physicality in our midfield. We have no athleticism in our midfield. So you're telling me we're going to go into a Premier League season with no athleticism in our midfield and a shockingly low level of technical ability in our midfield outside of Kobbie Mainoo? Get real. And you're expecting anything out of next season? Get real. Everyone knows the lifeblood of your team is your midfield. You need a competent midfield. And right now, we don't have a competent midfield. And that leaves us very vulnerable going into next season. It leaves us going into next season potentially facing the same sort of nonsense, the same sort of terrible performances that we saw last season. We need to shore up our midfield. And all this haggling over a few extra millions over McTominay. Be serious. Get rid. If Fulham are offering £20 million for McTominay, get rid. Because not only is that pure profit on an academy player, you're also getting rid of his wages, right? We've not been able to get rid of Maguire because of his wages. Okay, I understand that. You're not going to be able to get rid of everybody. But the players that we can get rid of, get rid of. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, get rid. There's offers on the table for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Get rid. Get rid of the players that we can get rid of. And we'll deal with the ones that we can't get rid of. Listen, I can't go into another season watching McTominay as an actual option in our midfield. I can't do it. I can't go into another season having to watch Casemiro and Bruno. I can't do it. I can't go into another season watching Bruno just completely vacate the midfield and leave Kobbie Mainoo on an island. I can't do it. I can't watch a midfield that lacks any sort of physicality, any sort of athleticism. I can't do it. I can't watch a midfield that can't pass the ball anymore. I can't do it. I can't go into a new season watching all of that. I can't do it. And if these things are not addressed, United are in big trouble going into next season. Believe me, mark my words when I say United are in huge trouble going into next season if they do not address their midfield. And I understand the situation the club's in. I understand the situation Ineos are in. Ineos are in a situation where they're dealing with the sins of the past regime. They're dealing with the astronomical figures we've put bummy players on. Scrubs. We put absolute scrubs on big wages. I understand Ineos are they're in a difficult situation where it is tough for them to offload players. But with that being said, when you do receive offers for said players like McTominay, you get rid. All of this, we're holding out for 30 million. Get real. The market has shown you nobody's giving you 30 million pounds for McTominay. And if you leave it till next season, guess what? You're not going to get anything. Because if I'm correct, I believe McTominay is a free agent going into next season. So he has 1 year left in his deal, and you're out here rejecting 20 million when you know that the club is in a situation where they have to sell to buy. Listen. I can't go into another Premier League season having to watch the midfield that I watched just leave us to die every game last season. We were dying in midfield every game last season. Every game last season, we were getting absolutely dominated because we were getting absolutely dominated by every other team's midfield. Bro, I was watching relegation for the teams play us off the park, bro. Because in midfield, even relegation teams had better players. Players that, like, it's crazy that I'm saying that. And what's crazy is we're going into a new season with those same options. We're going into a new season with the same midfield that had us in 8th place last season. And I'm not saying the total reason that we were in 8th place last season was purely down to the midfield. But I'll tell you what, it was a big part of the reason as to why we did finish 8th and as to why we were so disastrous last season. United need to make changes. They need to make changes fast. They need to offload the players that they can offload, and they need to bring in reinforcements. We still need 2 midfielders, man. Me personally, I would love to see Yusuf Fofana. I would like to see Adrien Rabiot. I'm not the biggest fan of Adrien Rabiot, but he is a solid player. He's a solid player with tons of experience at the highest level. You know, and it's options. It's options. Competent players in midfield. I would love Zubimendi, but I think Zubimendi would be a bit too pricey. Ugarte, I don't really rate Ugarte, to be honest with you, and he's far too pricey. Sander Berge, not the worst option in the world, to be honest with you. He'll be cheap. So, listen, I mean, there's options out there, but we need to sell to buy. We need to offload the likes of McTominay. We need to offload the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If we can find a way to offload Anthony, oh my God. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to offload a lot of players, but the ones that we can offload, the Aaron Wan-Bissakas, the McTominays, you offload. And you offload fast because the Community Shield is this Friday. We kick off our Premier League season next Friday against Fulham. The season is here, ladies and gentlemen. The season is here. It is here. And Erik ten Hag and Manchester United cannot afford to get off to another terrible start like they did last season. And I'm afraid that will happen if we do not address what we need to address in our midfield. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe. Keep showing love. Let me know how confident you are heading into the Community Shield and into our opener against Fulham next Friday. Let me know how confident you are about the season ahead, Man United fans. Unoriginal FC, over and out.